Hello everyone, and welcome to this video tutorial. In this tutorials we are going to look at how to insert a table of content, and I took some time out to design a dummy thesis which we are going to use for this particular task. So without further ado, let's quickly glance through the dummy thesis and let's take a look at how it is. So here is our dummy thesis. So this is it. It's about 49 pages and it looks quite good, right? Yes. So this is it. We are going to use this as our dummy thesis and we will insert our table of content inside this one. All right, so let's go back now. Before you'll be able to insert a table of content, there are two major steps that you need to go through. All right, and the first step is that you need to apply heading styles to all the headings that you have in your thesis. So the headings have different levels. We have heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, up to the number of levels that you have in your thesis. It might differ a bit in other theses as well. So some of you might have up to level 3, others might have up to level 4, and so on and so forth. So you need to take your time and then apply heading styles to each and every heading and subheadings that you have in your thesis. After applying the heading and the subheadings, then you can go ahead and insert your table of content. So these are the two major steps that you need to go through, or the two major things that you need to do to be able to insert a table of content in your thesis or in your work or any other file for that matter. All right, so quickly let's go to our thesis. We are going to apply heading styles to all the headings, subheadings, subheadings, and so on and so forth. All right, so this is our thesis. Now we are going to start with the main headings. So all the main headings will have heading 1, header style called heading 1. So when you take abstract is a main heading, so you need to highlight it and then you go to heading styles, the home tab, you go to styles and then you look for heading 1 and you click on heading 1. So the heading 1 takes effect for the abstract. So we are going to go through the same process for all the main headings in our thesis. So let's quickly do that. So dedication also gets heading 1. Acknowledgement gets heading 1. Then we start with the chapters. So chapter 1, you highlight and then you select heading 1 for chapter 1. Introduction also gets heading 1. Then we scroll down to chapter 2 gets heading 1. Literature review also gets heading 1. We scroll down to chapter 3. So these are the main headings that we have in here. So we are going to go straight to chapter 3. Chapter 3 gets heading 1 as well. Chapter research methodology, which is the title of the chapter 3, also gets heading 1. Then we go straight to chapter 4. Right, so chapter 4 gets heading 1, and the title of chapter 4, which is results, also gets chapter 1. Then finally chapter 5 also gets heading 1, right? And then the title of chapter 5 as well. So chapter 5 gets heading 1, and then the title of the chapter also gets heading 1. All right, so after you've assigned heading 1 to all the major headings, you go back up and then you move on to the next layer, which is heading 2. So all subheadings get heading 2, subheadings get heading 3, subheadings get heading 4, in that order. So let's quickly go through and assign all these header styles. So yes, 1.1 here gets heading 2, 1.2 gets heading 2, 1.3 is also a subheading, so that one too gets heading 2, 1.4 heading 2, 1.5 heading 2. All right, so for chapter 1 we are done with all the subheadings, so we move on to chapter 2. So 2.1 also gets heading 2, 2.2 gets heading 2 as well, 2.3 gets heading 2, 2.4 heading 2, 2.5 heading 2, 2.5.1. yes, so 2.5.1 is a subheading under the subheading 2.5. so 2.5.1 falls in the third layer, which gets heading 3. So first layer gets heading 1, second layer gets heading 2, and then third layer gets heading 3. So 2.5.1 gets heading 3, and we move on to 2.5.2, also getting heading 3. 2.5.3 gets heading 3 as well. 2.5.4 heading 3 as well. Okay, so we get another layer, which is layer 4 or level 4. So 2.5.4.1 is a sub topic under 2.5.4. so 2.5.4.1 gets heading 4, which is a level 4 or layer 4 subheading. So that one goes with heading 4. Again, we have 2.5.4.2 also getting heading 4. 2.5.4.3 gets heading 4 as well. All right, so that is that for chapter 2. Then we'll move on to chapter 3. 3.1 is a second layer heading, so that one gets heading 2. 3.2 heading 2, 3.3 heading 2 as well. Move on to 3.4, also getting heading 2, 3.5 heading 2, 3.6 heading 2, 3.7 heading 2, 3.8 heading 2 as well. All right, then we go to chapter 4. So chapter 4, we have 4.1, also a second layer heading, subheading. So that one too gets heading 2. And then we move on to 4.2, also heading 2. We move on to 4.3, heading 2. 4.4 gets heading 2, 4.5 heading 2 as well, and 4.6 heading 2. So I think that's about it for chapter 4. All right, then chapter 5. All right, so we have 5.1 here heading 2, and 5.2 heading 2 as well, 5.3 heading 2, 5.4 also gets heading 2. So all right, so there is one here that we didn't add. So references here, it gets references is a first layer. All right, so okay, so there is one last thing here that we didn't do. So references is a first layer heading, so references also get heading 1, and I think we are good to go. All right, so we've applied all the heading styles to all the headings and the subheadings in our thesis. Now that we are done with the first step, the second step and the final step is to insert the table of content. And normally our table of contents appears before the chapter, right? So it's supposed to appear on top of chapter 1. So we come here to the acknowledgement, and then we create a space or a brand new page where we are going to insert the table of content. So we bring our cursor to the end of the acknowledgement, press the control key and then press enter, hold down the control key and press enter, which will then create or move your cursor to a new or a blank page where you can insert your table of content. So now that you've created a space where your table of content will appear, the steps for you to insert the table of content is actually simple. First, you need to click on the references tab. When you click on the references tab, you go to the table of contents group. So at the table of contents group, you click on table of content. When you click on table of contents, drop down list will appear, which comes with inbuilt styles of table of contents that you can select from. So you just scroll through and then select the one that you want to apply. Normally I go for automatic table 2, simply because the automatic table 2 comes with the heading table of content. When you look at the automatic table 1, it has just content, and that's the difference. So I normally go for table of automatic table 2, which comes with the heading table of content. So click on it, and then your table of content will be inserted nicely for you. All right, so that is how you can insert your table of content. Now the beauty of this whole thing is that you don't need to be typing everything manually, and once you insert, after you've inserted your table of content, whatever changes you do, you just have to come to the table of content, click on it, and then update the table of content, and everything will take effect. Right, so one last thing before we go. Now when you look at the table of content that I just inserted, the layers, some of the layers are not appearing. When you look at the chapter 2, I had a fourth layer subtopics which we applied the header style, but it is not showing, which means that my table of content here is restricted to level 3. So I need to customize it to bring it up to the level that I want, right? So for you to customize it, first click inside the table of content to select the table of content. Go to references again, go to table of content again, the table of content groups, click on table of content. Now this time around, come down below the styles, you will see custom table of content. Custom table of content. Click on custom table of content. A dialog box will appear. On the dialog box, when you come down here, you will see show levels. Show levels, and you realize that the levels is set to 3. Levels is set to what? 3. So increase the level to, let's say, 4 or 5 or 6, whichever level you want to increase it to. But seeing that mine was just at level 4, I can just leave it at level 4 or maybe level 5. That's if I know that in the near future I can add some more subheadings to get level 5. But if I know I won't get any level 5, I'll just leave it to level 4. So I'll leave it at level 4. Go ahead and click on OK, and then a pop-up will appear asking you if you want to replace the table of content. Just go ahead and click on OK, and your table of content will be updated nicely. Now when you come back to the chapter 2, you realize that now our level 4 subheadings are all showing, unlike before initially that these ones were not showing. Now they are all showing. All right, so this is how you insert a table of content. Thank you for being with us, and see you in the next video.